What's going on? It's BSwift Hot 100.9, and today I get a chance to sit with a legend, a legend out of my city at that, Mr. Daryl Simmons. How you doing today?
Doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing amazing. Like, this is an interview I've kind of wanted for a few years. I use my dad pass. I was telling you earlier that I told my pops, like, yo, I need to interview with your friend. He's like, all right, I got you. Like, what do you want? I told him, he's like, all right, we can make that happen. So I'm
That's
glad
cool.
you're able to sit with me for a minute. And I just want
Yes,
to
sir.
talk, like, the
Okay.
music industry, some of the things you've done. Coming from Indianapolis, where you were in a lot of local bands, and of course the Manchilds, the Red Hots, and taking it to the national level on different things. At what point did you really take music serious?
I always took music serious, man. I started playing drums at 9 and grew up around musicians. You know, my brother was in a band and Kenny's brother was in a band. So we were always serious about music. We just didn't know how you technically get there.
Right.
You know, didn't know any of that, but we just always had a passion and always loved music, man. It never wavered for me. Once I started, it was just music.
Man, that 70s era of playing in the clubs like the Piccadillys and all of these clubs that are way older than me, of course. How fun was that for you guys? Because you guys had your own records that were making noise.
Yeah, it was, I would tell Kenny, we talk a lot about old times. And I say, the funnest times were the times when we really didn't make money. Because we were just kind of carefree, loved music, didn't really know how you made money other than playing in the club and getting a few dollars.
Right.
But it was more of a just loving to play music. You know what I'm saying? Being in the club and feeling the crowd right there, playing 6 nights a week, with your brother involved. And, so it was at that time it was our learning ground.
Right.
Learning your instrument, working on your chops, and just loving music, man.
Do you have a favorite maybe group that you was in? Because I know you was in multiple groups at that time.
Oh yeah, probably Manchild was the pinnacle of being local and, in a band full of great musicians, creative people, far more talented than Kenny and I. So when we got with them, it was like, wow, these guys are like incredible. I'll never be that good. Reggie Griffin was incredible, played master of 3-4 instruments, and Chucky Bush, and we just looked up to those guys. They were writing and recording, and we were like, wow. So that was really our learning ground. We learned so much from those guys because we were younger. They were older. They already had club experience and stuff. So then we got to record a couple of albums, and that experience was really cool, being in the studio for the first time. So that was the true learning ground of being a musician, learning your instrument. The writing was at the beginning. It wasn't good, but it was the beginning of writing and understanding, even recording, just being in the studio, because we weren't producers.
Right.
I'm just standing around watching, but I learned so much from just watching, you know what I mean? So that was like the true beginning of saying, okay, we got to try to take this to the next level.
And then you guys definitely took it to the next level. Of course, the deal come in and you guys are writing. You with Kenny, you're right there. At what point did you know that the pen, writing these records, like, okay, we might be on to something?
Yeah, it was, we left and went to California and said, hey, we got to try to make something happen. And so we went out there and we just wrote. Every single day, we just wrote songs. I slept in a room with the equipment on the floor. The deal had a house, an apartment that Solar had gotten them, and they let me stay. And I really owe those guys a lot for just letting me hang around, because I wasn't a group member. I just was a side musician along with your brother. Your dad, I'm sorry. Yeah. So, we just wrote every day. And it came a point where I ended up going back to Cincinnati because they couldn't afford to keep me out there. I said, okay, go back for a while, hang at the deal house, and you'll come back at some point. And I remember Kenny called me. He said, hey, LA and I just wrote this song called Rock Steady for the Whispers, and they're going to record your song called In the Mood. And I was like, really? He goes, yeah, so you need to get back out here because I think something's about to happen. Immediately, they got me a ticket. I flew back to LA. By this time, Rock Steady had hit. The album was a hit. And man, from that point, the phones start ringing, man, and people start coming by our apartment. It was literally crazy. Like, hey, wake up. This girl named Paula Abdul is coming by the house. Like, oh, okay, hey, wake up. This guy named Johnny Gill, he's coming by the house. hey, wake up, this guy named James Ingram, he's coming by the house. And so we had this big erase board on the wall, which is nothing but songs.
Oh, wow.
And they were like, no, we're going to keep that. Okay, we'll give this to dude. Kenny like, no, I'm going to keep that. We're going to give this song to whoever. And literally they would come in and me and Kenny would sing the lyrics and the melody and stuff. Like, okay, we want to record that. And it just became a machine. I mean, it just became this writing machine where we were literally every day, either somebody was writing at the house or somebody was recording. They may be mixing. It was just like this. It was just like,
that's crazy.
It was like a working wheel of, I remember seeing one billboard and in the top 10, I think we had at one point like 4 or 5 songs on the R&B chart at one time. And I remember somebody asked me, well, how are y'all doing all this work? I said, we just don't stop. I said, literally from one song or one project, okay, what's next? Okay, what's next? And that's how it just, and once those records took off, everybody started knocking. And it was just, like I tell you, it's even unbelievable now when I think of it, how we worked so much. But that's how those records, because we never stopped.
You never stopped. And it's crazy because you're not writing records with people in mind.
We're writing.
Here, let's
Every
do this.
now
Let's go.
and then somebody would ask for a song and, we would curtail it for somebody. But we were just writing. We were just a writing machine.
And it's crazy because I was looking up like 89 to like 90 something. You guys were nominated every year for Grammys.
Yes.
Multiple times.
Nominated, would never win.
Which is nuts.
It was crazy. And I'll never forget, Kenny and I had written Can We Talk and recorded it. And so Quincy was going to come by to hear it. And Kenny says, hey, Quincy's going to come. I'm like, Quincy Jones? I never met him.
Right.
Kenny had met him. He goes, yeah, Quincy's going to come out and check on, because Tevin was on Quest at the time. So Quincy came in, heard the song. Yeah, man, it's great. Yeah, man, I love it. Great song, man. Yeah. And so then he just started talking. Him and Kenny were talking. He was talking to us about, Kenny said, well, how come we keep getting nominated, but we don't never win? He said, you got to keep at it. They have to keep saying your name. You have to keep at it. And I was like, so I just was all ears. This dude talked from Michael Jackson to Ella Fitzgerald to Count Basie to,
good Lord.
This dude is so amazing. The true GOAT of producers.
Absolutely.
There is no doubt who the real GOAT is. And then after that, we won for End of the Road, and and our artists would win. Toni Braxton first album, I think she won 3 or 4 Grammys, and so things started to happen, and it was a good feeling because we were working so hard. You weren't working for awards,
right?
But we just kind of always wondered, how can we get nominated? We don't win.
That's
you just kind of start to wonder. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, once it happened, it just happened. It was crazy, absolutely crazy.
I want to ask you this because you touched on the record, the Tevin Campbell, Can We Talk? You hear a lot of these rumors, right?
Right.
This record for this person.
Never happened.
Never happened?
It never happened. We recorded Can We Talk in Los Angeles. We wrote it in Kenny's apartment on a street called Burton Way. I remember.
Oh, wow.
Kenny called me to come write. So it wasn't written. Kenny had one song written, which was called I'm Ready, the title track. And the other 2, Always in My Heart and Can We Talk, we wrote on Burton Way in Los Angeles. Never went to Atlanta. Nobody ever heard it.
Okay. Because you hear the rumors and it's like,
and we laugh at it. We laugh. Usher never heard it. We weren't in a studio with Usher in another room.
Okay.
It never happened.
That's tough right there.
It never happened. It was written for Tevin. Tevin recorded it, sang the hell out of it. That's how it went. Never happened.
I want to ask you this because you've worked with a lot of people, from Michael on up. Is there an artist that you wanted to work with that you never got a chance to work with, maybe?
I never, it's funny because she lives in Atlanta. I never got to work with Gladys Knight. And she's right there in Atlanta. And I never got to work with her. I loved her voice. It just never connected. And that was one artist and voice that I wanted to work with, but never got the chance to.
Now let me ask you this. Is there a record that you and Kenny gave away that you like, damn, I wish we would have kept that for us?
No, because it wasn't us. It was always about Kenny.
Okay.
So when we finished End of the Road, Kenny wanted to keep it. He had decided to keep it. And I was like, oh my God, are you serious? Because it was the last song. People don't remember this was a part of the Boomerang soundtrack. It wasn't a Boyz II Men album. It was the very last song recorded for the soundtrack.
Mm.
So we needed to get the soundtrack done. Me and Kenny got up early this morning and in Buckhead in Atlanta, and we worked on this song all day. And Kenny said, "Damn, this is a smash." I said, "I know, it's out of here." LA called, "Heard you got smash." Kenny goes, "This thing is crazy." LA came in from the office, sat back, we played it, and Kenny said, "I want to keep it." He was like, "What?" I said, "I got to keep it. Can't let him have it." He was like, "No, we need the song. It's the last song for the soundtrack." Kenny said, "At least let me record it." Okay, so we go to the studio, and I think Kenny sang a verse and a hook. He took the headphones off, said, "Okay, they can have it." Because he knew.
He knew at that moment.
Yeah, he knew.
It
He's the master at that. He knows.
That's
he knew
fire.
It would be way bigger on them than himself. And it still would have been a hit on him.
Absolutely.
But he knew it would be much bigger because they were bigger.
Yeah.
They were pop. They were, at that time, they were
massive.
They were
like
massive.
Massive
So,
for real. So.
Yeah, that's the only song I can remember and that was Kenny wanting to keep it for himself because, he's a solo artist. So rightfully so, So yeah.
And being there with Kenny, I know you was around for the LaFace days, right? When you look at that roster, Outkast, Tony, Usher, did you guys know that everyone, especially Outkast, that's one of the first hip hop groups that it kicked a lot of doors in for the South. Shout out to Andre 3000 for making that statement at the award that year.
Absolutely.
Did you guys know like these people on this roster is really, really,
I felt
really
they were talented. They were, because we had done a LaFace Christmas album. So they were all a part of that. I had a group called A Few Good Men that didn't happen. There was TLC, there was Outkast, there was Goody Mob. I forget who else was on the album. But I knew then, and I didn't know rap.
Right.
So I just knew those guys were so talented and they were so different to me. I liked certain rap songs, but I didn't know. But I knew they were talented. Yep. The people that were signed there, whether it was them and Tony, of course, TLC was crazy. It was crazy. All of that was just, that time period was really incredible, insane the way things happened. I remember Usher when they came in for the first day. I don't know where we were. LA said, "I got this kid Usher. I want y'all to check him out. Think about signing him." So I remember we walked into a room. He was so cool. Said, "What's up? What's up?" Just a cool little dude. And so he sang, and I was like, "Wow." Yeah. And I said, his voice will get better. I said, "But I like him." I said, "He's so cool." And his whole process, "Yeah, you should sign him, man. This dude he's cool." And he was, and the rest, like I said, is history. And he's been great. He's been a great artist, great guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was just nuts, man. I can't even, it's hard to fathom what was going on. I mean, we would come from the office. People would be downstairs in the parking lot. "Can I sing for you? Can you take my tape?" Like, oh, he couldn't even get to our cars. But people, "Okay, here, let me have a tape." "Hey, let me take." Chili, who was a dancer, and she was dancing in a group that we had called Damian Dame. And we went to rehearsals to see Damian Dame. They were rehearsing for their show. And this pretty little girl, "Y'all want to hear me sing? I can sing. Y'all want to hear me sing?" It was like, get out of here, get out of here, get out of here. So we were at LA's house, I think, and so I got to find one more member. And Pebbles put the group together. And then somebody said, "What about that little cute girl that was dancing with Damian Dame?" And Chili ended up being in the group, and that was TLC.
And history is made.
History, yeah. The chemistry of her and Left Eye and T-Boz was just incredible. It just was. And Dallas did a great job with the records that he did. And we didn't really do that many records. We did Baby, 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 which was a hit. And there's a couple of records that weren't.
So many you forget.
They weren't the singles, but Baby, Baby, Baby was one that we penned that was like really, really, really cool for them. I love that record. It's a good record.
Do you have any like special memories of hearing one of the records you wrote on radio for the first time and just like, yo, this is it?
That's a good question. I don't know if anybody's really asked that before. I don't know what it would have been when I think back. I really don't know what would have been, but the record that got me on the radio was End of the Road because it was so big and stayed at number one for so long. I can remember pulling up next to a car and somebody's just singing at the top of their lungs. I'm just sitting there going, yeah, that's cool. You know what I mean? You singing something that I wrote.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think because it was so big and so massive that it just played all the time,
Everywhere, all the
everywhere,
time.
all the time. And that was just a good feeling to hear that record, because that's what I live for.
Right.
You know, that's I don't do no videos, I don't do
You're the
choreography, I don't do whatever. I write, and that's my reward, is to hear that record on the radio, hear somebody singing it. You know what I mean?
And I think
that's
you
a
had the
thrill for me.
best company name, Silent Partner, because you
Oh,
was the
yeah.
silent guy. And like,
Yeah, yeah.
we knew what you did, but you like,
Oh yeah, it was cool.
I don't have
it
to be in
came
the
kind of by
camera.
accident, because you know they were the producers. LA and Kenny were the producers. I was
Right.
just a writer. I was not a producer, so I wasn't in the limelight. And we went to some music thing, and some guy goes, "Who are you?" I go, "I'm Daryl Simmons." "Oh, you're D. Simmons. You're the silent partner." I go, "Yeah, I guess you could say that." So when I left LaFace and started my company, it was the perfect name for me, so I kept it. And but yeah, it was cool. I didn't want to be a producer. I never wanted to be. I just wanted to be a songwriter. And I would sit back on the couch just like this. LA and Kenny would be sitting up there. I'll never forget it. We were working with Karen White and working on a song called Superwoman.
Mm-hmm.
So LA and Face got upset. "Hey, you need to get up here and finish this." So we got to go over here. I think they were maybe going to work with Pebbles or Sheena Easton. He said, "You know what to do? You've been sitting on the damn couch all this time." It's like, "Get up here and finish this shit." And I was like, "Really?" And they walked out. It was me and the engineer, and it was me and Karen and the engineer, and I finished it. I did the ad libs at the end and finished it. And from that point, you know, it was on. They just worked me. "Go down here with the boys and do Down My Heart with them, and we're gonna go over here." Like, "Oh, okay. You need to go down here with Paula Abdul while we go over here with," you know, and it just rolled into it. You know, it just fell in my lap, and you know, I just did what I saw them do. You know what I mean? That's what I said. Okay, would they say this is okay? Would Kenny say this is good enough? And they were critiquing. It's like, "Hey, you cool, you close. Go back and do this." I'm like, "Okay," and that's how I became a producer. It was just like so much work to do that it couldn't be done. You know, they were, like I said, they were all over the place. You know what I mean? And it was a blessing, because I grew to love it, and I learned it from them, and I learned, you know, the songwriting craft from Kenny. And so it really helped me to grow and then become the silent partner, have my own company, and you know, all that. So it was really a blessing in disguise. You know?
Couple more before I let you go.
Good.
I gotta ask, working with Michael Jackson, I know the records didn't go where you probably wanted, but just to be in that, being an Indiana kid and watching this Indiana kid who is amazing, right?
Yeah, it's a good question, because it has a really good story, and I won't give all the details because I plan to write a book.
Okay.
But we got the call, and LA and Kenny said, "Yeah, Michael wants us to, you know, work with him." And you know, they tried to get him to come to Atlanta. Everybody came to Atlanta. Johnny Gill, Whitney, everybody came to Atlanta. Michael wouldn't come. He didn't want to come. So they told him, "We'll give you 2 weeks. We'll come out there for 2 weeks." And I was like, wow. And then they say, "We're going to take you with us." And I was like, oh, I couldn't believe they were going to take me. You know, it was Michael Jackson. I would have been okay if they didn't take me, because it was Michael Jackson. "Yeah, we're going to take you with us, you know, part of the team." I'm like, great. So we fly to LA. I'll give you the Cliff's Notes version, the shorter version. Go to LA, and we set up shop in this studio out in the Valley. So we're at one studio, and Teddy Riley's in another studio working. So he's got both of us out there. And so we're working, writing songs, and first day goes by, no Michael. Second day goes by, no Michael. Okay, well, maybe the third day, maybe he comes in on the third day. You know, we've written, I don't know, 3 or 4 things. And he comes in, "Hey man, what's up? What's up? Hey, how you guys doing? How you doing?" You know, we just treat him like a normal guy, you know, chopped it up, you know, made some jokes. You two guys are from Indiana. I know you too. Your sense of humor. You're from Indiana." So yeah, man, from Indiana, just like you, man. Ready to work. You know, so he didn't work that day. We just talked, and he left. And it's just the funniest story. So the girl that was receptionist came back in. She goes, "Oh my God, when he walked by me, he held up his jacket so I wouldn't see his face." We were just dying laughing. It was just so many little things like that. So finally we had a song called "Slave to the Rhythm." After writing maybe, I don't know, 8 or 10 tracks, he loved "Slave to the Rhythm." And so we proceeded to, you know, record.
Yeah.
And I was sitting back on the couch. They were producing it, and you know, it was cool. You know, Michael was being Michael and singing it, and All of a sudden he stopped singing. We're like, damn, where the hell he go? Somebody come in the room with a note. Michael's done for the day. We're like, oh,
That's how this works.
okay, that's how this works. Michael's done for the day. Okay, so we pack our shit up. Okay, we'll see y'all tomorrow. And so that kind of went on. Then one day he comes in. I want to show you guys my disguises. I want to show you when I go out in public, nobody recognizes me. We're like, all right, man. Okay, go ahead. He has this brown briefcase he pulls out. This is the old man that I wear. Nobody ever knows it's me but the kids. They say, Mommy, that's Michael Jackson. That's him. All the kids would know that it's me. Like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. You ready to work? So we work, get a note. Michael's done for the day. It's like, oh my God, this is like, he'd come back in. He had some pranks, had a pen. No, use my pen. No, use my pen. Okay, I'll use your pen. I got you. Okay, man. Yeah, you got me. You ready to work? It was
like working with a 16-year-old.
I truly said to myself, this dude is really a kid. I heard this, you read the story.
Yeah.
I said, dude, he's really a kid. So one day I was in the lobby. I was out there and he came in. We weren't working yet. And I had a jacket on. It was my dad's jacket. And it was a Nautica. It said Nautica, like a sailing, whatever. So I'm in the lobby. He comes in. Yeah, I really like the song. I'm going to get it. I said, no, you cool. I said, so you're close. It's going good. He goes, Nautica. He goes, they sell health equipment, right? And I'm going, he was thinking of Nautilus, fitness equipment. And I didn't want to embarrass him. And I said, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I've heard of them. They sell health equipment. This dude was so sheltered and, didn't know. Wow. You know what I mean? And long story short, it didn't end well. He ended up not using the song. Ellie and Kenny said, okay, this ain't working, after he came in and doing whatever. And so later on, years, Ellie was working at Sony. And he said, did you ever take a copy of Slave to the Rhythm? I said, no. He said, I was listening to it. I'm going to put it on a posthumous album. He passed away, getting some songs together. He says, Timbaland's going to rework everything. I said, really? Okay. He played. I said, okay, it sounds cool. So it ended up being on that posthumous album called Danger or something.
Yeah.
Escape.
It's Escape.
Right. Sold about 2.5 million and, got a nice plaque for it. So I could say I did work. I did work, but it wasn't the experience that I was hoping for. I was so excited. I was really so excited. And then the album came out that he ddid, what Teddy had written, Remember the Time. And people were like, I thought y'all worked with Michael Jackson. I was like, oh.
Don't remind me.
Yeah, don't remind me. And that was the most painful thing, was that the song wasn't on that album. And that's what we were writing for. And then Teddy did a great job. That was like my favorite song, Remember the Time. Such a great,
amazing song
job
right there.
that he did. And so that's my Michael Jackson.
That's dope.
Experience. What I did get to meet him, talk to him, and he was a kid, man. Really talented, and hate when he passed away, and But yeah, that's my Michael Jackson story.
That's fire. One more question for you, pretty much. Two more.
Yeah, you good.
First one. There's somebody out here that's watching this, that's a songwriter that wants to be in the industry, and maybe they can't figure it out. What do I do to get my record to somebody? Do you have advice? Because this industry has changed a lot, right?
Like I said, it's
it used to be come over. Now it's like email me what you got. Just send it via the phone.
That's pretty much what it is. That's pretty much what it is. Or put it. I mean, kids put their own records out now. Or if you can get in front of somebody, but it's so different.
Yeah.
It's so hard because there's so many people that are good. I mean, you can sit on YouTube all day and watch people that are good. I always say, it's too saturated. We're getting too much. And it's good. It's good stuff, but it's too much. I mean, when we came up, it was rare to find a diamond in the rough.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't any social media. So it just had to fall in your lap, or somebody handed it to you or whatever, just like they did at LaFace. And but now it's so plentiful, and a lot of it is good. I just wouldn't know really what to do. All I could do is you stay at your craft and keep writing, and just try to get it. You try to get it to somebody in whatever way that is now, because I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
I tell people, don't bring me no music, don't bring me no artists, because I wouldn't know what to do. I'm done. I retired. I have no clue. I have no connections. You know what I mean? because it's just changed so much. And I'm glad we did what we did when we did it. And I wouldn't change that for anything, because, you know, we sold records. We sold physical records. Copies. You could pick it up, look at the credits. Now there's no product. You can't go to a Best Buy or Target. There's no physical product that you can, you know, no tangible that you say, oh, I want to look at this.
I used to love the art, the cover work.
That was
I want
me.
to see who wrote. Oh, this person
That's how
did
I became
this,
a songwriter. My interest, when I would look at Jackson 5 album covers or look at a Marvin Gaye cover, okay, who's the producer? Okay, why is this name different from the artist? Who's the corporation? I was intrigued with, what is this process?
Mm-hmm.
You know, how do these songs get to the Jackson 5? Who's the corporation? You know what I mean? And how did it get to them? So that's what intrigued me, other than playing music, wanting to write music, and how does it get there? How does it become a record? You know what I mean? So, but now I was watching something and it flashed on the screen, the Songwriters. Oh, I know what it was. I looked up a song by Kane Brown.
Okay.
What's that song?
Kane is, I can't think of his song either, and I know it because it's
Mattress in the Back of the Truck. We can break it in. Great song. I said, well, let me see who wrote the song. So I was working out and was listening to it, and I looked it up, and it was Kane Brown and about 10 other people. I'm like, oh my God. Golly, imagine dividing that check up.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? So many people and when we came, it was
2,
me,
3.
Kenny LA, or me and Kenny. That's all it was. And we had a system and it worked well. But now it's like, you know, and then people, they use pieces of songs, so they sample. So you got to pay that's what I do every week. I sign off on licensing for rap songs, and they'll send it to me. The publishing company will send it. I'll listen to it. Like,
I was going to ask that.
It doesn't sound great, but I'll take the check.
I was wondering, do you be sometimes like, nope, I don't want to affiliate, or come on with the paper, I'll take it?
I always take it because it's a check. You know what I'm saying? It's my music working for me from 30, 40 years ago, which affords me the life that I have from the work that I did, you know, those years. That's how I live my life. You know what I mean? Because I didn't screw it up, didn't do anything that I shouldn't have done. You know what I mean? So I just go, okay, it's a check, you know? So yeah, all the time, the kids, they'll use a piece. I'll be like, damn, they didn't have to use that. You know, it wasn't necessary, but okay, I'll take it. I'll approve it. So, and it's cool that they respect the old music. And
last question.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to ask you this. You got to take End of the Road out of this question, okay?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite record that you have done that you just like, I know I got 800 songs, but this one, every time I hear it, my heart, my brain, my face, it smiles to the max? Out of all the records you've done, and take End of the Road out, because we know what that is, right?
That's End of the Road is not like my favorite song.
Okay.
It's really not my favorite song. I have 3 favorite songs.
Okay.
If you're asking me for one.
You can give me those 3. I'll take your 3.
My number 1 is Can We Talk? My number 2 is My. And my number 3 is Rock With You, Bobby Brown.
3 great records.
Yeah. And because I go through, like how people say, oh, I can remember what I was doing during this time. I can remember what my life was like when this song came out. To me, as a songwriter, it's the same thing. Like I said, I remember where Can We Talk was written. Kenny's apartment on Burton Way. My, we lived in Los Angeles in that apartment where we were writing songs. And there was this girl that we would see. We never met her, never knew her name. From the front, she was like a 4. From the back, she was a 10. And she had this long black hair and wore this red lipstick. And we sat in Kenny's Jaguar, because he had got a Jaguar. And every time we see her, we go, there she go. My. From the back.
Wow.
And so we sat there, you know, put on your lipstick, let all your hair down. That came from the girl that lived in the apartment that we never met. Kenny said once, just think, she don't even know she inspired that record.
Oh, that's fire.
And that record was written in the car based off this girl that lived in the apartment complex that we never saw.
That's fire.
And that was the saying we would say, my. And that put it in the record, sat there in the car and wrote it. And Rock With You was in Cincinnati. That was in Cincinnati. And I lived with Kenny and his wife at the time. And Freddie Jackson had a song called Rock Me Tonight or Rock You Tonight. I said, man, that would have been much colder if he had said, rock with you. So I started writing these lyrics on a piece of paper. And I remember Kenny came in and goes, what's that? I said, I don't know. I just had this idea for this song called Rock With You. You know what I mean? So Kenny said, yeah. He went in the music room, threw his magic dust on the track, and Bobby killed it. It's just one of my favorite. It's just the beginning of that. Dun, 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 dun. Just, you know, Kenny has a mastery of, I call him Mr. Mom, master of melody, because when Kenny starts something, he wants to make sure that you know the song before any singing starts. Before you hear one lyric, Kenny's gonna make sure that you fall in love with the music. Dun 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 dun.
Like you said, we locked in.
Dun dun. You already you done, and you ain't heard nothing. You ain't, and that's Kenny's the master of that. He's pulling you in without the singer singing one note, and that's why he's just the greatest to me. He it's the melody. He says the melody. He said we got to make them sing it. He says his word would be it's got to be universal. That means everybody has to sing it. He said we know we can sing it.
Yeah,
like we would write something, go leave, get something to eat, come back, wouldn't hit play. Kenny would go sing it. Can we talk? And if I could sing it and remember, okay, we cool. But if you had to think of it,
this ain't it.
It wasn't strong enough.
That's
and
dope.
those three records, for some reason, when they come on, I don't know. It's just something that gets me. Just good records. We wrote a lot of good records, but something about those records, the memory, knowing where they were written, how they were written. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the list is long.
It's long. It's really long. I can only imagine
those
your
records,
plaque wall at the house.
Yeah, those records are the ones that I just love. And it's mainly because of the way they sound.
Yeah.
When they first come on. You know what I mean? And, you know, Kenny always would make sure, okay, we got to grab them. From the minute that needle drops, you there. You're in before you hear any singing.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's really dope. Listen,
yeah.
I appreciate you for taking some time. Shout out to my dad, Greg
Absolutely,
Russell.
Yep.
I
Greg
appreciate
that.
Yep.
Great musician.
You making that call for me, Pops. You know, I don't ask for a lot. This was definitely a favorite in his books, and I'm sure I'm going to owe him for it.
Yeah, you going to owe him.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to owe him. Absolutely. He going to get it out of me one way or another. So
that's cool, man.
But what you've done for music, the stamp you've put on with your partner, Babyface, has been amazing. Knowing you guys are from Indy, North Central kids
just from Indiana. Never thought it would. We were probably most likely to not succeed.
Like,
to be
that's crazy. And now you guys sit on the Mount Rushmore of writers. Like, you guys are definitely there.
I definitely appreciate that.
Thank you for the time, man. I
yes,
appreciate
sir, man.
it.
Appreciate you.
No problem. Daryl Simmons, BSwift, checking out.